The darkest thing that I've ever done, it haunts me to this day. I actually think about it, and it's crazy because it happened in elementary school. It happened in like first grade, and I still remember it. There was one point where I decided I was going to take this other kid's toy car, like straight up steal it. Like I straight up stole his toy car, and then I I blamed it on another kid. And then both of us got taken out into the hallway, and the teacher was like, "I'll be right back." And I looked at this other kid who was this is terrible. He was like a dummy. He was like a little bit of an idiot, okay? And I was like, "Listen. You're a bad kid, okay? I'm a good kid, all right? What's another bad thing on your record?" All right? And he was like, "Yeah, you're right." And I was like, "Dope." And then she came back and she was like, "Who did it?" And he was like, "I did it."
Dude, you found a Jimmy In-N-Out? Oh, you found a Jimmy In-N-Out for stealing some kid's toy car in elementary school? You started Jimmy In-N-Out's fucking career of just taking the fall?
Listen.
You're dark, dude.
No.
That's
Listen.
fucked up. I view you differently now.
I
don't know if we can be friends.
Guys.
Does Devin know?
No, I am impressed.
I've actually never told Devin about that. She'll hear about it if she subscribes to our Patreon.
I'm impressed, Clay. Actually, you get like points on me.
I still think about this. Like to this day, I think about
He
this.
wakes up in a cold sweat at night.
I think about the wrong things that I did to people.
I don't.
And it haunts
I
me.
bet that kid's in a prison cell somewhere, just being like, "I do belong here." That Clay's right, man. What's another bad thing on my record? Just take a fall.
Just another bad thing
Kyle,
on my record. I don't care.
That's why they call me Fallen Franklin.
Now entering the atmosphere of Planet Zero. Scanning for signals. Incoming broadcast. Shift destination. BCFP0. Begin transmission.
Welcome, everybody, to another amazing episode of World's Championship.
Nope. I'm gonna veto that bit. That's a bit you've been doing all morning. I'm not gonna let you continue that one.
Okay, that's
Welcome to the book club from Planet Zero.
Welcome to Planet Zero, everybody.
Oh man,
we
almost got off the rails quick.
We almost got demonetized quickly.
We're already demonetized.
Oh
bro.
no!
I don't know.
Should I say words now that I'm not allowed to say?
No, I don't think you should.
Even like happy fun time, fun.
That's never a word that we told you couldn't say, Eric. That's just I think that you took it upon yourself not to say that for some reason.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You brought a list of words that you can't say. No one actually even told you what you could and couldn't say. You brought
I got
a
that
list
from the internet. The words you can't say. The FCC.
What website did you go to?
It was some Facebook group. Anyway,
That shouldn't be the website.
welcome everybody.
Welcome back to episode.
I don't know, seven-ish.
7-ish.
Yeah.
You were so confident. So
No,
earlier
it's. I'm pretty
ago.
sure it's 7.
It's 7.
Dude, if it's not 7, you can fire me right now.
What are we talking about today?
Well, should we talk about
We should talk about Mr. Miracle today.
Oh yes, Mr. the man.
And I think we should keep everything else a surprise for the listeners.
You know what? You are right, my friend Christian.
If it's not in the title already, then it's a surprise.
That's Christian, by the way.
And that's Eric.
The Planet Zero crew. So,
no worse scum or villain in the entire galaxy than Eric.
So, if you've been keeping up with our podcast, we've been talking about Fourth World by Jack Kirby, the king of all things comics, apparently.
You know what Brian told me?
What did Brian tell you? What comic book store, Brian?
Comic store Brian. You know what he told me? King of Comics was an ironic nickname that was given to Jack Kirby because he was like busting out comics day in, day out, just hammering them out. So like the guys in the bullpen were like, "Look at this guy, King of Comics." But then like people were like, "Oh, he's actually kind of good." So like, "He's the King of Comics." And then Jack was like, "I guess I'm the King of Comics.
I guess I'm going to use that title.
I guess that's me now."
Well, I never voted for him.
I would.
Don't,
After reading Mr. Miracle, I would.
Yeah, you know what? By book 3,
18 issues of just pure bliss.
Yeah, by book 3, this is like the best one so far.
This is the third collection in the Fourth World series that we've been reading. We've already covered Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. We've already covered New Gods, and now we've moved on to Mr. Miracle. My favorite DC comic character.
Yeah, dude, I think that's your introduction into DC was Tom King's Mr. Miracle.
It was actually the New 52 Batman by Scott Snyder.
Oh well,
But my
years,
resurgence into like actually reading DC comics was Tom King's Mr. Miracle, which this is giving me just such a bigger appreciation for, because there's like stuff in this that I'm reading and I'm thinking about like Tom King's Mr. Miracle run and being like, man, now I'm more sad. Which we'll get into in a bit. But God, man, this book starts off wild. This book just starts off with Thaddeus Brown, the original Mr. Miracle, this old escape artist dude just hanging out in a field with Oberon.
With Oberon, his
who
assistant,
is a little person.
A little person assistant who's always freaking out.
Yep.
Even though he's working with a daredevil, he's always worried.
So stressed, dude. He has the highest blood pressure of any like being a superhero's like best friend, like you gotta have high blood pressure, but Oberon just brings it to a whole new level.
Yeah, when you're an assistant to a superhero whose whole point is putting himself in danger, it's pretty stressful.
Oh man, I just made a connection on why Mr. Miracle and Moon Knight are my two favorite characters.
Do tell.
Well, Moon Knight just lets himself get beat up sometimes. He just takes punches. Like, he's really good at just taking a beating. I don't know if you've noticed that, but like he's not always the best in fist fights. He just sometimes gets beat up, and he just keeps getting back up.
I don't think I got that in the original run, but
Mr. Miracle waits till the very last second to escape death.
I think he does it on purpose too.
He does do it on
just
purpose.
to fuck with Oberon.
Just to fuck with Oberon, and also just to see like how good he can get his timing down for his act outside of fighting supervillains.
So Thaddeus, the original Mr. Miracle, is met by Scott Free. Who's just randomly walking in the fields.
He's just an alien man pretending to be a human walking through the fields.
If you recall from our last New Gods episode, you would know that. Should we do a breakdown of what New Gods real quick?
No, because they've listened to the previous episode.
Okay, just watch this next episode. All right,
we can't just keep recording the same
so
episode over and over again.
So you know how like Darkseid and Highfather swap children, right?
Yeah.
So you got Orion.
We actually have already seen Scott in New Gods.
Yeah,
we saw him briefly.
We saw him as a baby,
a little baby. He wasn't. That was a toddler.
Okay, yeah.
That was like a fully grown child.
So Darkseid's son Orion is living peacefully on New Genesis,
being raised by Highfather.
Meanwhile, on Apocalypse, that freaking hellhole of a world, Scott Free.
Darkseid throws his adopted son into the orphanage.
The orphanage where they raise child soldiers.
By Granny Goodness.
By the evil Granny Goodness.
But we learned that a little later, because at first he's just this dude.
He's just a dude walking through the
who shows up, watches a guy do escape artist, is like, whoa, I want to do this.
Whoa, I kind of
this seems rad.
I can get paid for what I did on Apocalypse.
I can get paid for escaping. Like that's all I've ever tried to do and done, and I guess we'll keep doing. All right, I guess it's a job.
Since I'm a refugee alien on Earth,
that's dope.
Might as well make that a living.
It's kind of cool. It's like someone escaping North Korea and then just being like, I'm an escape artist now.
Yeah, basically.
I'm a stage performer, escape artist / superhero. Because that's what he is. But like, Thaddeus dies. He gets killed by some goons who are paid for by a guy named Steelhand. Do you remember Steelhand?
Yes.
He's a mobster with a steel hand.
It wasn't even a big hand. It was just it looked like a glove.
It was literally just a steel hand.
My boy.
That's all it was.
He works for Intergang.
He does work for Intergang. They don't show up much more after that.
No, I thought there were going to be a more presence, but it was just Steelhand.
Because after Steelhand and Thaddeus and like Scott, so Thaddeus dies, and then Scott's just like, I'm going to move into this man's house. He does. He's like, I'm just going to take this guy's job, and he does. And then Oberon's just like, yeah, I guess, sure.
Hey, I'm gonna. This kid's got
yeah, Thaddeus Brown was my lifelong friend, but this kid's got moxie. And he just lets him join in. It's nuts. He just lets him move in. He's just like, yeah, my friend's dead, and you have the same kind of shtick, right? So go ahead.
It all works out because Mr. Miracle is an amazing guy.
He's nice. He's cool. Except for when like he gets like Granny Goodness on Oberon's case.
We should discuss that. So the New Gods, Granny Goodness, his pretty much his adopted mother, I guess, because
No.
she pretty much raised him.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh well, she ran the orphanage that trained him to be a soldier.
Yeah.
So she starts sending these Darkseid's elite to hunt down Mr. Miracle, and coincidentally, all these guys just want to put they all have an elaborate death trap.
So she lures Scott. First she goes after Scott herself with X-Pit. She goes after Scott with X-Pit, and then Oberyn and Scott get caught up in X-Pit. And then Scott's like, Oberyn, chill out. And Oberyn's like melting in sand. He's like, what the fuck's going on, Scott? And Scott's just like, don't worry about it. I'll have Mother Box break me out. Remember that when he shoves his shoulder up against that box that they're stuck in? That was X-Pit.
I remember that too. That reminds me of another scene. Sorry to cut you off. But it was remember when Oberyn doesn't know what's going on? So Mr. Miracle's like,
because that happens exactly next. Because then Dr. Bedlam comes to Earth in the next issue, and he sends Scott some psychic messages, and then Oberyn's like, what's going on? And then Scott's like, yeah, you wouldn't know about Dr. Bedlam. Here, let me psychically link to you and go through all of the tortures and terrors that he could put you through. Only the strongest of minds could survive. Make sure not to tarry. And then he puts him through this terrifying psychological trip.
That poor old man.
And then right when he's done with that, he's like, okay, you stay here. I'm going to go fight him by myself.
That's so insane.
He didn't need to do that to Oberyn.
He didn't need to. He always tells him all these scary stuff that he's going up against, and then he's like, "All right, bye, Oberyn.
All right, bye, Oberyn. I'll be back. Maybe. I'm going to fight that guy now." But he does. So he does do that to him in that first issue where Dr. Bedlam shows up, which I think is issue 3 or 4, and it's weird because you're just like, why did he do that to Oberyn if he wasn't going to bring Oberyn to help him fight Dr. Bedlam?
I know, right?
Is it just to fuck with Oberyn? And I think that's around the same time where Scott in a panel. There's a panel where Scott's like, you're a big man, Oberyn. Someone people really look up to.
Yeah, because Oberyn kept prodding into his past.
Yeah.
And then Scott
just comes after him like that. Sarcastically calls him a large man. What an asshole, dude. And then he fights Dr. Bedlam, right? He goes through that tower. Big Barda shows up. His girlfriend. His girlfriend. He's got a crush on Big Barda.
You got a big girl for.
I have a crush on Big Barda.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
She's mine.
It's weird that my favorite DC character is a guy who his whole shtick is always being in bondage, and he has a wife who has a thing called a Mega Rod. And she's bigger than him. It's just I'm like, why is Mr. Miracle my favorite? And then I read it and I'm like, that's why, because he's living the life I want to live. He has the life I want. I want big wife Mega Rod and put me in chains. I guess, I don't know.
We'll make it happen soon. Anyway,
that sounds ominous. Then he fights Vermin Wunderbar.
Isn't it
Vermin Wunderbar?
An alien that apparently studied a lot about Prussia history and modeled his entire existence off that Earth thing.
He's a fucking
Vermin
freak.
Wunderbar.
He's a freak, and he had his Hydric and Klep. Remember when he kills Hydric, and then he's like, "Now I have Klep."
No, I actually forgot about that. That's
Klep's the one who was because Vermin Wunderbar puts him on the little death train.
Yeah, it's like a car wash thing, but it's like
the car wash of death. That's exactly how Jack Kirby described it.
It holds him in an Iron Maiden thing, and then it goes by a conveyor belt with axes swinging, fire burning, and this entire time Klep is all like, "Oh, look at him! He's getting hurt and everything. Should I laugh, Vermin?" And then Vermin's
like, "No, not yet.
Do not laugh yet, Klep. The machine is still working." And then at the end, when it gets to the very end, and Vermin's all like, "Okay, you may laugh now, Klep." And then they all start laughing while Mr. Miracle's in the same panel behind them. While all these villains are laughing, and he's just standing there.
Yeah, he's back there laughing too. He's
laughing with them.
He does that. So that's his thing. The way that Moon Knight will make himself into a crescent moon shape to upside down kick someone. Mr. Miracle will fucking show up behind, when someone's gloating about how they just killed him. He'll just be behind them. Later in the book, Later in the book, they're like, "Yes, we got him, we killed him," and then the panel changes, and they're gloating about how they took care of him, and he's choking out the goons in the background. They're like, "Finally, Mr. Miracle has been dealt with," and he's like, "Go to sleep, go to sleep."
it's funny how like Granny Goodness always sends like these
Dorks.
yeah, these assassins.
Fucking
whose-
nerds.
All these assassins have like a fetish for making death traps that they want to put Mr. Miracle in.
Yeah.
I guess they just want to like
Bedlam put him in a building with crazed people.
Vermin put in that car wash,
Car
death,
wash.
and then both of them plus Granny Goodness put him in like a mind trap, I guess, like where he fights like a pink monster. Do you remember?
Oh
that?
no! We're not there yet because first we meet Funky Flashman.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We
to see
meet Funky Flashman and we meet Mad Harriet, Lashina, Stampa, and Bernadette,
Oh my god!
aka Desad's sister.
You can have Big Barda. I think I'll have the rest of them, the female Furies.
Dude, you can have them. You can have all of them, dude.
You got Lashina, who has a whip.
She might be the only one I would mess
You got
with.
Mad Harriet,
She's gonna cut your dick off.
she's gonna cut my dick off with those power claws. You got Stompa, stomp on my head until my brain crushes,
If you're into that,
and Bernadette, who's the sister.
she's
the-
literally
the
that one.
sister
She
of-
will stab you. She will just straight up stab you.
She's just the sister of Desaad. I like how
She's
every
Desaad's
time,
sister. I would
every
okay.
time they introduce Bernadette, they always got to remind me that she's the sister of Desaad.
Desaad, the Darkseid's favorite goon.
Yeah, refer back to the New Gods episode. For
Refer back to
Desaad.
New Gods for Desaad. They meet them, and then Barda puts him in their place and is like, "This is my boyfriend. I like him." And then they're all like,
That's
"Okay."
right. She escapes to Earth to be with Scott,
Yeah.
and then when Scott gets abducted in
well,
the
the
apocalypse,
Granny sends Barda's old troop after Scott.
yeah,
And so Barda fights them down and is like, no. I love him. He's sweet. But they don't do that until literally the last chapter.
but it's just funny how like these because I'm from reading from past stories like Darkseid's always had like very loyal servants, right?
Yeah.
So then you got the female Furies who like are Darkseid's best warriors, but because without Big Barda leading them, they're just a wild bunch who just look. We just need a leader. We want to
Yeah.
do something. So when Big Barda returns, it's like, hey, I need help getting scot free. They're all for it, even though
Yeah.
they're currently fighting to the death on who's going to be the leader. And then Big Barda shows up, Rex, Mad Harry, and Lashina,
Yep.
and it'd be like, all right, guys,
We
We're
gotta go save Scott.
remember Granny Goodness? Fuck her. We're gonna
Fuck her.
we're gonna save my boyfriend, and they're like, yes. So it's a fun time. It's a
It
fun.
is fun. Speaking of people who help Scott escape, I guess he didn't help Scott escape, but he got punished for it. Hugin.
Who?
Hugin.
I don't remember that guy.
I made a list of all the villains who are named in the book.
That's a good idea.
Hugin is the wolf. One of Granny Goodness's wolf, one of the like cop troops at the orphanage that got demoted because he was in charge when Scott Free
That's
got.
right.
Yeah,
That's right. I remember the one guard.
Hugin.
Hogan.
Hugin, and then he fights. He goes to Apocalypse and he fights Kanto the assassin.
And then he just lets him go. Kanto just lets him
Yeah,
go.
because Kanto's cool, dude.
I guess.
Kanto's cool as hell.
Master assassin. He literally lets him go.
He's cool as shit because he's like, you did escape the death trap, so you get to go. He was a man of honor,
Oh well.
On Apocalypse,
He's probably having sex with Granny Goodness anyway.
probably.
Most likely.
And then they capture him and they hook him up to the lump.
The lump.
The lump.
The lump.
Lump sound a lot. Okay, that's enough.
Yeah. So he has a mental battle with this thing called the lump.
They hook him up to a sleep machine that's connected to the lump, and they plug an HDMI cord into him and the lump, and then they fight in their dreams. And the lump's like, "It's Dream World, I rule here." And
I'm
then,
everything.
And then Mr. Miracle's like, "Mother box." That's his answer for like everything.
Yeah, New Gods are kind of
Like literally,
they like to cheat
literally,
with their mother boxes.
when he's fighting someone who straight up like blows. I think it's a fight with Dr. Bedlam later in the series where he's fighting Dr. Bedlam, and Dr. Bedlam, his first attack is just to damage the mother box on Scott's shoulder. So he's like, his attack was successful. All he wanted to do was damage this mother box. And so for the whole comic, you're like, dang, Scott's operating without the mother box. How's he going to get out of this one? And he gets out of it, and you're like, whoa, how do you do that without the mother box? And then he's like, he pulls his mask off. He's like, second mother box on my head.
God, all right, I do. I think
Remember that?
I should bring this up. That okay, it is kind of. There's a lot of bullshit moments like how Scott gets out. Like I didn't know he had these contraptions in his boots.
I don't
Like,
understand. There's
he
certain parts of the book where I'm like, is his power super speed? Does he have super
because
speed?
he escapes, and you're like, wow, how does he escape? He's like, with these shoes, and he shows you, and it's like, this was never brought up before.
Jack Kirby,
But it's still fun.
he several times refers to Scott. God, what does he say? He refers to Scott something.
Scott Free.
Oh, he refers to him as the fastest moving target alive. Several times he calls Mr. Miracle because like people will take shots at him and he'll be like, too bad for him. He was shooting at the fastest moving target alive. And it's like happens 3 times.
Thank you, Jack.
It's like, okay, well, is he fat? Well, like, does he have super speed then? I don't understand what that means, Jack.
He just can always avoid and escape. That's
you
his
can't hit
thing.
him. You can't hit him. But after he fights Lump,
Should we say how he defeats Lump? Do you remember that?
You go ahead.
He grabs a mirror
Mhm.
and shows it to the lump. After
He
getting
does
that
too.
whole comic, he's getting bodied by the lump. And all Scott did was I showed him a mirror of himself, and he got so like
Your lump's so
disgusted.
ugly. He saw a reflection of himself and died.
He literally, like, the lump died after seeing it. That is so sad. I feel like that's a Greek story somewhere.
Lump so ugly he saw himself. No.
Tragic. I relate, Lump.
Do you remember the flashback sequence? Where
There's several
he's
flashbacks.
where he's getting trained by Hyman. And he blows up that one guard named Wilkin.
No.
Oh, dude.
But I do remember Hyman and his freedom fighters on
Yeah.
Apocalypse and how horribly they died.
Yeah,
I never expected that. This is such a colorful, childlike book until that moment where I see the dead bodies hanging.
It's fine. It's Apocalypse.
Yeah, it's Apocalypse. I should have seen it coming.
It's fine.
But I think this is not the first. I think that's the first time in the Fourth World series that something graphic like that happened.
Well, Hyman didn't die because Hyman stays around until Demon Dogs. That was a flashback sequence.
Hyman?
Hyman
Oh, my bad.
Hyman sticks around until the Demon Dogs storyline, which wraps up New Gods.
Yeah,
which is after this.
So that
This was a flashback to when Scott was young and he was getting trained by Hyman.
So those last chapters in New Gods that came out like years later.
Came out after this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, and then Master Brain, which is them getting back to Earth on a boom tube after fighting off Apocalypse and winning their freedom, and then they come back to Earth and they're in a random like military facility and they get attacked by those like
I kind of forgot about that. Yeah.
the World Safety Syndicate. And Scott's like, so wait, how do you ensure world peace? And they're like, oh, well, we build giant bombs and then we tell everyone if they don't behave, we'll blow up the world. And he's like, oh, that's like blackmail on a scale that's never been done before. And this little glass box with a head in it is like, oh, you do not understand
That
the
guy.
thoughts. Master
Brain.
Master
yeah.
Brain, dude.
I hate him.
Dude, he just magnetized him to the rocket and
He's just
sent him to space.
A glass
Scott-
box with a brain with a head on it.
Scott will murk you, dude. Scott will straight up kill you. Mr. Miracle will straight up kill you.
I want to refer back to that scene with the graphic dead bodies
Mhm.
and the guy who killed them all, and he's all laughing and stuff, ho ho ho. But then Hyman, disguised as a servant, gave him his food, and then when he opened the plate, it's a bomb like Looney Tunes style.
that was Wilkin.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was talking about. That was Wilkin.
Wait, I remember this guy.
Yeah.
His name was Wonderful Wilkin. Yes,
Yeah, that
now
was
I
Wilkin.
remember him. That jerk.
Stupid idiot.
What a horrible sight to see all these people dead, and then a Looney Tunes style death he gets.
That's what he deserves.
He just opens
Gets
his
a Looney
freaking
Tunes
tray and
style
there's a
death.
nuke bomb in it. And he's like, oh,
He's like, oh.
and then it explodes, and then Scott got out. Scott and Hyman got out.
Ridiculous. And then they defeat them, and then it flashes back to the beginning where they fight Master Brain after leaving Apocalypse. They send him to the Earth. They fight, or they meet. What's his name? Mike McCracken. Was it Mike McCracken?
Man, that sounds familiar. Actually, you gotta refresh my brain. Juices.
He was the guy that Barda and all them saved.
Yeah, oh, that's right. The one-off guy
The one-off guy.
who's like,
Literally
I'm
showed
just
up at
here
one.
to set a bomb.
You remember when because they got captured and he was like,
Why are you bringing this guy up?
Because he's got a cool name, Mike McCracken.
Right, you got
and
me
then
there.
and then and then the next issue he fights Colonel Darby, who has a gambling issue and has to win every bet that he places. And he placed the bet that Mr. Miracle would lose wouldn't be able to do his next escape. So he gets Squidward's house, a.k.a. Mistovac, to cyberbully Scott. Remember when he's like, I have this robot that anyone who hears his voice must command him. So he had the robot call Scott.
Yeah.
And then the robot's like, you want to die. You want to die. You don't want to be living no more. You want the sweet embrace
Scott,
of death.
die.
Hey, Scott, go ahead. Why don't you die, man? And then Scott's like, yeah, you're right. And then hangs up and then goes to practice and doesn't escape the trap.
Good
And
thing Bart is there to save him.
his big, beautiful wife had to jump in, dude. BBW.
That's my girl. I'm sorry, that's your girl.
That's Scott's girl, man. I have respect.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Exactly.
Are we getting...
And then he defeats Mistovac, who ends up being an alien. Remember that robot
Yeah.
that was an alien the whole
Oh,
time?
yeah, it was an alien.
Yeah,
It was- didn't they free him? Or did...
Well, they revealed him to be an alien, and they broke open his thing, and he was like, "I can't exist in this atmosphere."
Oh my god!
For a minute
You're
when
right.
they broke,
it was a freaking like Men in Black moment.
yeah, it was a Men in Black moment. For a minute when he broke his helmet open, I thought it was Isak though.
You're like,
I was
Isak?
like, oh, this is Isak in ballsack form. little ballsack Isak. What's he doing here?
Freaking Scott recognizes him like Isak.
Isak,
What
why
are you
you
doing
why
here?
you look like a shriveled nutsack, bro?
I don't know.
I don't know. And then there was Albert von Kilowatt or the Fufa.
I'm getting tired of these.
Remember when they went into that
names.
weird, like, Eastern Asian themed cyberspace with all the swastikas all over the place? And they were like, this is weird. This is a weird, what's going on here? And then they get out of it and they're like, do you think that was a secret Nazi scientist trying to pretend like he was an Eastern Asian cultural icon? And then Scott's like, I don't know any of the things you're talking about. I'm not from this planet. I don't understand any of those references. Ted Brown, because Ted Brown shows up, who's
Oh my
Thaddeus'
God.
Brown's son.
That's right.
And
Thaddeus
he's
Brown.
what is he, a producer?
Yeah.
He starts trying to sell
He
the
starts
show.
becoming the manager after Flashy Funky.
Yeah, so the
Funky
whole
Man.
time the whole time these comics are going on, and Scott's like randomly fighting supervillains who are putting him in traps. Like
He's
most
trying
of the
to get a
comic books
show.
is like he's doing practice for his own escape art tricks, and it's just wild. It's just dumb wild. Like there's one time he buys a Civil War cannon and has Oberyn dress up like a little Union soldier and shoot a cannon at him.
At least he got the
Remember that?
historical accuracy out. Oh yeah, and then they brought in the cannon and they got all these men like
All the
"We're
men
gonna
are
get-"
like, we're gonna lift it, and then Barda just comes in and
Puts
they're
it in
like,
one hand.
oh shit, step on me, mommy.
Are we getting to the wedding soon?
The wedding is the very last bit of Mr.
It
Miracle.
was the best part.
Spoilers. We're actually
sorry.
not even there yet because we're on the Satan cult and Madame Evil Eyes.
Okay, I got one. Just one word for Madame Evil Eyes. Gross.
Daniel Avedon. Oh.
Next.
No,
character.
doesn't she look like David Avedon of Game Grumps fame?
Dan Avedon. Yes,
Dan
Dan
Avedon?
Avedon. If he had like big ass eyes. Bug eyes.
He kind of do.
Who else is on that list? I don't like her. It's gross.
He's cool. After that is Mr. Fez when they bring in Shiloh. Remember Shiloh, his new
Oh my
sidekick?
God, Shiloh. That's right.
That's-
I didn't think he was gonna appear in this because like he's in like the recent comics, right?
He's in the Future State comics. That's the character's name is Shiloh.
So that's pretty cool.
So that was cool. Yeah, reading that, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like I read the
Shiloh-
Future State stuff, but I thought it was a new character. But
Did you read that? It was
I did.
Shiloh?
it was Shiloh.
That's
Yeah,
good.
that was the same. It was the same name. I don't think it was the same character. It was alternate universe stuff.
Yeah.
I
obviously.
like it was all right. It was kind of interesting. It was a cool take on Mr. Miracle, especially making him human. That was
So, yeah,
interesting.
does he have a mother box? Or
He
is
does have a mother box.
Okay, then it's
Yeah.
not cool. All
Okay.
right.
But they fight Mr. Fez, which is just a guy with a Fez hat.
Lame.
He is pretty lame.
I just remember Shiloh. Shiloh also. There was a whole issue where Shiloh was doing badass things, but then turned out to be a dream. I remember that issue.
I do remember that issue. That was the Professor Egg issue, wasn't it? Where he fights the small people.
Man, I don't remember because it just ends with him.
The
waking
tiny
up.
kingdom of Professor Egg does not treat the uninvited kindly. Professor Egg.
That's why I forgot about him. He looks lame.
Professor
Another
Egg.
egghead shaped villain.
And then there was, or was it this dude? It was the Pepe. Pee-pee.
And PP.
Pee-pee and Mungo.
Oh my god.
And then these guys, the Della the Dinosaur, Mad Merkin, and Little Bullets.
I don't remember.
You
these.
don't remember these guys? These
So-
are literally the last two issues. Little Bullets is the last character before the wedding.
I remember that wedding part more.
Dude, how do you
I
not
guess
remember Della
like
the dinosaur, Mad Merkin, and Little Bullets when the dudes were gonna there were these two dudes who were gonna kill Shiloh. It was Pepe and Mungo. They captured it. They ran the hotel, and Barda and Scott both went to bed and got electrocuted. But Shiloh was like, "Oh, there's something up. I'm not going to bed."
All right.
And then he tries to attack him.
Fresh my memory glands.
And then Shiloh gets the upper hand, but then this big ugly dude Mungo comes in, and then he tries to get him thrown in the Inferno room.
Yeah, maybe that's why I don't remember, because these characters look lame.
These characters look lame. Della Dinosaur.
Yeah, that's literally one panel.
Yeah, they're cool as heck. Mad Merkin, Little Bullets, and also his name is Little Bullets, and then he says baby right after his own name. But I didn't read the comment at first, so I thought his name was Little Baby Bullets because he does look like a little baby.
They got mistaken as this crew. That's what it was. Yeah.
No, because that's the tricky trio. That's the tricky trio that he thought he killed, and they came back and they were like, "You ain't killed nobody. You ain't even kill us."
Lame.
Not lame. Cool. You're lame. You have bad taste. The wedding was lame. There was nothing cool about it. It was just all the villains coming back and being like, "Look at us all villains." It's me, Dr. Bedlam, for the 8th time this book.
I just like it because Darkseid appeared at the end, just to fuck up their wedding.
Yeah, he was just like, I didn't stop it, but I fucked it up.
Exactly. Dude, he literally...
The thought is what counts.
They reference him all throughout the series, and you think he's going to be a big deal. But at least he was there at his adopted son's wedding.
He wasn't. He missed it.
Well, he fucked it up, so he was
happy.
there.
He was happy about that part.
He was happy to fuck up their wedding. That was Mr. Miracle. They also went back to New Genesis or whatever.
Yeah, they left Oberyn and Shiloh.
Oberyn and Shiloh saw Darkseid.
You have the follow-up series, don't you, where he's in space?
Yeah, it's when Mr. Miracle starts making appearances in Brave and the Bold with Batman and other appearances.
The book you bought at World's Best?
Yes.
Huh. I thought it was 19 through 25.
Well, it has some Mr. Miracle in there, but it also shows all his appearances afterwards as well.
That's neat. That's pretty cool.
So he appeared with Batman. Him and Barda appeared with Batman doing some stuff because that's what Brave and the Bold means. The Brave and the Bold.
Barda and Bascott.
Yes.
Barda and Bascott.
So how many car wash death car washes do you rate this?
Death car washes?
Out of 5?
Dude, 10.
10.
10 out of 10. I don't know if more is better, but
well, you did break the scale, so
it's off the charts, man.
Yeah, I like this. This is obviously the best one so far, but we got one more book to read, and then we wrap up the
Forever People.
The Forever People, which I don't know anything prior about them, so I can't wait to get started.
Well, get ready to know about them forever.
That was good.
Okay,
that was clever.
All right. Well, denizens, we got a special treat for you.
We have
in the studio a guest, a close personal friend of ours. Actually won a contest to get transmorphed.
Yeah, he didn't.
Planet Zero.
Yeah, he didn't come in here with us on our ship. He had to take a cannon.
We sent out a golden ticket-esque kind of like postcard thing for all of you to fill out and send in back to us. And we would pick one winner who would get to show up on the podcast and ask some of the most biting questions that we see you guys asking out there on the interwebs, the outer space, and so on and so forth. Now we did trust the creature to go ahead and send these cards out, and our guest with us is a mutual friend of the creatures, and also the only submission we got. So we don't know if you guys didn't get your cards.
It's just a coincidence.
It seems like it might be a coincidence. You guys maybe didn't fill them out. Maybe you didn't send them off in the right time. Maybe you sent them off on a weekend of sorts. Weekends work differently in space. But anyways, please everyone welcome to the book club from Planet Zero, our friend Clay. Hi, Clay.
Hey.
Whoa.
Hey.
Were you there the whole time?
How's it going, everybody?
No, he actually just transmorphed from the cannon, the transmorphing cannon.
Clay, how are you today?
I'm great. First time, long time. I'm happy to be here. I did not look online to see if anybody had any other burning questions. I made up these burning questions. hopefully the community has the same questions as me for you guys.
Well,
an
I mean,
outsider.
you are our community.
Oof.
You make up. Yeah.
You make up like 80% of it.
Wow.
I think. You're using the VPN to show up as Belgium, aren't you?
Traveled all the way out here. Okay. Well, yeah, I have some questions that I wanted to ask you guys.
Softballs, hopefully.
First of all, I just want to say, beautiful studio
Thank you.
out here on Planet Zero. It's really great. The creature's great. The meature's great. If you listeners at home, if you don't know who the meature is,
We discovered another dentist on Planet Zero.
there's something else living out here.
We don't know if the creature reproduced asexually or
through budding.
through budding or something, but the
SpongeBob
creature's
style.
got a mate.
Yeah.
And that's what we call the meature.
The meat, yeah. So they're great. The creature's great.
Yeah, you discovered the Meacher, so
you know,
named it the Meacher.
Creature, an old friend. We were pen pals back in like middle school. So very weird that we would end that I would suddenly receive a golden ticket in the mail. But I am a huge fan, so I do have some quick questions. They're not quick. They're actually pretty in depth. That I want to.
Well, that's good.
ask you
Feedback's
guys. Now, I've been listening to the podcast since 0 episode. Since I know that you guys record these a little bit in advance, so I haven't heard episode 5 and 6 because I don't think they've been put out yet. If I'm not mistaken, I think only episode 4 has been aired so far.
This would be 6 then. If 4 is only aired, this would be 6.
No, this is 7. I lay my life kind of on it. Anyway.
This could be 6.
This I'm pretty dumb.
You put your life on it.
Because the episode released was
So,
New Gods.
Eric puts his life on it.
The last
I'm
episode.
actually scared now.
The last
Life
episode
on
that
it.
I listened to was the unofficial Newsboy Legion podcast episode, which was episode 4, I believe.
Go ahead and load your gun
Okay.
because
Yeah,
I'll
episode
pull out
4.
my notepad.
So
Just one bullet.
this would be episode 6.
Oh my God.
Don't want to believe you, but you might be right.
The beginning of the episode.
Clay, honestly, if you do well enough today, well, I might be in the. I will be in the market for a new host. Cause
Listen, it's a
Eric
nice
does have to
studio.
commit seppuku.
Hey, everybody. This is my last episode.
But what was your first question?
So I'm gonna come out of the gate pretty hot on this one
I
with
said
this first
softballs.
question. No, there's some softballs on here, but I gotta ask the question I think everybody's wondering, and it's for Eric. Eric, do you hate Moon Knight? Because when I listen to these podcasts and Christian's like, "Oh my God, I'm enjoying One Piece so much, man! It's what a fun time," and then he's like, "Let's talk about Moon Knight," and you're like,
I guess I should just come clean right now. I like certain things about Moon Knight,
"Okay,
but the execution in the first series is not well. the most part.
Validation. Vindication.
how do you feel about that, Christian? Is your favorite superhero?"
That's fair.
Okay.
I made the mistake of giving Eric the beginning.
No, it was good.
No,
it was good.
You can't read comics like you read manga. You should read from a good point. Like, you should read a good comic of a character rather than start at the beginning of the character, because you might just end up hating reading the character.
Right.
I'm not gonna stop reading.
No,
Moon
I know
Knight,
you're
by the
gonna.
way.
No, actually, you're gonna read what I gave you, and you're gonna actually be like, "Give me more of this."
Yeah. So now, when I eventually get to the good Moon Knight, I can
What do you mean
appreciate
eventually
it
you have
more.
it? Yeah, it's
Mm.
in your hands.
Because I don't what?
It's in your hands.
What's in my hands? Life.
You just gotta read it, man.
Yeah, it is. Is it in the bag? It is in my bag.
The same
right
way
now.
I just gotta read One Piece.
All right. Oh yeah. So yeah, I don't hate Moon Knight as a person, but his book sucks.
Jesus. I do hate reading it.
Oh no, I'm sure it'll be fun.
But yeah.
So you hate it, but it's going to be fun eventually. Is what you're saying.
I believe that's.
You're not enjoying reading it currently.
No,
but
You didn't enjoy reading
like I said, I like
Omnibus 1.
I like certain things about the Moon Knight lore and the character and like the cast and like what he does, but sometimes the villains he fights aren't interesting or fun to like read because there's a lot
That's
of
fair.
there is
That's
a lot
fair,
of
but-
sections where the villain just talks and monologues, which I usually like. I like hearing the villain,
That
but then
happens
these
in-
villains become not cool or threatening when they finally get to the confrontation between Moon Knight and the villain. It's not cool. They just end up like like the villain just ends up being lame and kills himself, and then Moon Knight does a kick or two.
Dude,
But there's
his
some
kicks
fun
are
moments.
cool though.
Yeah, when he like I know you like Anton Mogart or whatever that guy's name is. And he's a lame villain, but But that fight scene looked pretty cool when he was like shooting around the page and like each it was
He's jumping around.
And Moon Knight's jumping around panel, like jumping from panel to panel. It looks like, and Mogart's like firing in a circle, and then you get to the last panel.
We'll get you hooked on modern Moon Knight, and then we'll revisit.
Okay, yeah. So there we go.
Moon Knight.
Okay. I think that answered my question. I think that you being here in the studio and seeing it, you answered honestly. So thank you for that. This next question is a bit more philosophical. Who is y'all's two opinions, your individual opinions, who is the hottest member of the Newsboy Legion?
That's a tough one.
Well, I can't say hottest.
Why not?
Because they're boys. But the coolest.
I would say Jimmy Olsen.
I thought we agreed he's not a member.
Well, when it comes to who's the hottest, he's the only one of
All
legal
right.
age.
I guess he's the only. enough.
That's the correct answer.
Yeah, the correct answer is
Jimmy
Jimmy
Olsen.
Olsen.
It's Jimmy Olsen. It was a trick question.
It was a
Y'all
trick.
passed. Good job, you guys.
I
Thank
knew
you.
it.
Good job, you
We
guys.
did it. That was very philosophical. Thank you.
It was a softball. I'll give you that.
That one was a free one.
So this is a callback. I hope you guys will appreciate this callback. What is y'all? That's each of you. If you could go one by one. What is your favorite moment from the blockbuster hit movie Shazam?
Shazam, the new one.
Oh, I love
The
The
old
Shazam.
one with the Rock. Yeah.
Oh, Black Adam.
Oh, Black Adam.
Oh, did I say Shazam?
You said
You said
Shazam.
I meant Black Adam.
You said the favorite part. Oh, my favorite part from
I-
Black Adam.
No. Black Adam, the hit blockbuster movie Black Adam.
Well,
Shazam. I think I thought about that just because they're never going to be in a movie together, right?
No, they're not. And I'm waiting for the new Shazam to hit HBO Max before I waste
Yeah,
my
I'm
time
not
on
going
it.
to go to see that in theaters.
Zach-
But go ahead.
Zachary Levi, whatever his name is, he annoys the ever living shit out of me.
He
now.
does.
Have you seen him on the press circuit for this movie where he's like talking shit to The Rock and stuff?
oh my God, he is.
Yeah, he's so annoying, dude. He's just so annoying. He's like getting in front of crowds and he's like, Rock said he doesn't want to fight me. He don't want to fight The Rock. I'm probably gonna punch The Rock in the next movie. Like it's like, dude, shut the fuck up, dude. You're not Ryan Reynolds.
I guess
you're not Deadpool of the DC universe.
I guess he really wanted to fight Black Adam.
I guess so. And now it's weird too because somebody pointed out to me that the guy who's playing Billy Batson in the new movie, he's like 20.
What?
So he's like a young man turning into a slightly middle-aged man who looks nothing like him and is acting goofier than he was acting as a child. It's just
So he aged up. Is it the same actor?
he didn't age up, dude. Time happened.
Yeah.
What do you mean? He was like when did the original
Oh,
Shazam
yeah,
come
when
out?
did
Like
the Shazam
2019,
come out?
It was
2018,
2018.
2018.
Sounds right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
So he was 15 when he played a 10-year-old.
Yeah, you're right. He probably he accelerated there.
Stop
So
saying accelerated. Time just happened.
So I don't want to cut you up, but what is your favorite moment from Black Adam?
You know that point where like the second end credit scene ends and the credits just continue to roll and it's time to leave the theater.
Yeah.
That part,
I feel that.
that part right there.
That's good. Yeah, you know what? The credit. Everyone who made that movie does deserve credit for what they.
I agree.
Amazing.
I don't,
movie
well,
they
The credits
made.
were good.
I don't know if I don't. That's not.
The credits were good.
I don't think that's.
No,
what
no,
I'm
no, they worked
getting
All
hard.
right, now top 10 scenes that Eric likes about Black
at.
Adam.
No, I think you said your favorite. Your
Your
favorite.
number-
I
you're
can't.
one.
I can't
One.
pick one. There's
You have
10.
to. It's the
you
question.
have to
So I
pick
can't. I
one.
just gotta give 10. All
No,
right.
This is
pick
a
one.
softball.
Please pick one. There's so
All
many
right.
more questions.
Well, okay. To be fair, I would just. Okay, I don't really know. I'm just gonna give one at the top of the first thing that comes to the top of my head
Uh-huh.
when the kid's all like, "You can get your name on lunch boxes," and then The Rock was all like, Why do I need a box for my lunch? There we go.
That's good.
That's my favorite Black Adam moment.
Good choice. Good choice. Okay.
Or the scene where the guy's
No,
falling
you get one.
and
You
he
get
looks
one.
around.
You get one.
Oh, okay.
You get one.
Oh, I just
We're
thought
done,
That's
about
it.
we're done
I thought
talking
of, like,
about Black
7 more
Adam.
scenes.
We're done
I'm
talking
honestly
about Black Adam.
surprised that you got one. So we're gonna move on to.
I have
We're
several.
gonna switch to manga. We're
No
gonna
more.
switch to manga. Manga is more what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of like DC or Marvel comics.
That's fair.
But I do want to talk about manga. So Christian, this
Uh-huh.
question's for you specifically.
Yeah.
So
Thought I was the
far,
manga man.
but he's reading
Relax,
One
relax,
Piece.
manga
He's
man.
reading One Piece.
Chill out, manga man.
Sorry, just
So far, has One Piece made it? Would you say has it cracked your top 10 favorite manga reads? Has it busted into there
God, probably, honestly.
with like Berserk?
Probably. Berserk would be in there. Gundam, the origin, the adaptation they made for manga, that would be up there.
Wait, hold on. But has it cracked the top 10?
It probably has.
That's good.
I don't think I
Good.
could list 10 manga that are in my top 10
Christian's just
That's
saying that
crazy.
right now 'cause
without
That's
he's
listing
crazy.
all the manga I've already
That's
read.
crazy that you say that because I have a follow-up question.
Uh-huh. What are my top 10?
What is your top 5 favorite manga? And this is for both of you, but I want to start with Christian since we're
I've
already
made
talking
this
about
list.
it. I know you have. I know Eric. I know you
Oh.
have. But Christian, I need to know your top 5 favorite manga.
Oh,
And
that's
this
so
is going
good.
somewhere. So
Well,
go ahead.
You want me to go first?
No,
Unless you
Christian,
have
'cause
it?
he's already talking about it.
No. Oof. 5?
Yep, top 5. What's number 5?
I want to include One Piece.
Yes. Do it.
Number 3. I'm gonna do them a little out of order and randomly because I'm kind of thinking of the list as it goes. I think number 2 is Berserk. I think number 3 is Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin.
Nice.
I think I want to say number 1. I want to say number 1 is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part
Okay.
7 Speedball Run. That part of JoJo specifically is my
That
favorite.
was that was
It's
an
so
amazing
good.
part.
It's so good. I don't when you talk JoJo's, I don't think you can say like JoJo's is my favorite manga. I think you have to specifically name what part you're talking about.
And yeah,
Because it's a cohesive story. Because like it wraps up the story. Like I wouldn't say my favorite manga is Dragon Ball, and that includes Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super. I would say like my favorite is Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball,
Yeah.
whatever. But that's my favorite. Second favorite is Berserk. Third favorite is Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. Fourth favorite. Fourth favorite would have to. God, it's 4 and 5 are One Piece.
What?
And Sakamoto Days, but I don't know how. I don't know where.
How Sakamoto Days?
Yeah,
What
You're going
Yeah.
to put One Piece above Sakamoto Days?
I don't know.
Yeah, put One Piece. Yeah, above Sakamoto Days.
No, just because you told me to, it's gonna go 5.
Damn.
That's fair.
Sakamoto Days. No, it's no. One Piece is objectively better than Sakamoto Days.
Yeah, but that's not. We're not talking objectively.
We're talking
Lore.
about my
We're talking about your
fives.
heart.
My heart.
We're talking
That's
about your
true.
heart.
Yeah.
That is true. I actually like No Gun's Life a lot.
Whoa, it's not a top 6, though.
Sorry. So I guess I'll bump One Piece and we'll put No Gun's Life.
We'll come back to that. It's in the top 10, though.
It's in the top 10.
Okay. Now, a more decisive list. Eric, I know that you've got
All right.
this down to a science. So
All right.
what's your number 5?
Number 5.
Yeah, just go 5 to 1.
All right, 5.
Big reveal at 1.
Hunter x Hunter, obviously, an
Nice.
amazing series. Takes the shonen genre and flip it on its head,
Mhm.
and it has such amazing, compelling characters, and a good magic system. Number 4, Delicious in Dungeon, a more modern manga. This is a manga. Have you ever heard of this before?
I have not.
So it's a very fantasy esque story about these adventurers who go through a dungeon, a very elaborate dungeon. All these adventurers go through it. It takes place on a little island. The island had no business at all until a dungeon was discovered, and now there's a boom town, and everyone would go there. Our heroes find out that the best way to go through the dungeon, get to the lower levels, because by the time you get to the mid levels, you start losing your equipment, and your rations run out. So they decided, instead of wasting money and buying more food, we should just hunt monsters and eat them along the way. And when they do that, it turns into like a little cooking show. They meet a dwarf who's been living in the dungeon for a long time, named Senshi, and he hears about this. Our main character, Leos, he's a human, but they call him tall men. He's not a good warrior. He can't fight well, but he's a nerd for monsters.
Okay, I'm going to cut you off. You're spoiling it for me. What is this called again? Because it sounds like
Delicious-
it's right up my alley.
it's right up your alley.
This sounds like it's something I want,
I can
and I
give
don't
you a
want
copy.
you to spoil any more for
You
me.
should
If I'm
read
being
it.
No,
honest.
I'm not spoiling. I'm just giving you
Okay,
the
all
laydown
right,
of the
right.
characters.
It's called
Go to
Delicious what?
Delicious in Dungeon.
Oh, Delicious in Dungeon.
Just bring
Okay.
your. Bring your
I can show you a copy,
yeah,
dude.
give
It's
him a
really
copy.
it's a good read.
Wow.
Yes, I think you'd like it a
Okay.
lot.
Number
Number
three.
3. Number 3.
Number 3.
Slam Dunk, a basketball manga. I never thought I'd ever get into anything sports related, and then Slam dunk happened. I watched the anime, cried at the end, got the
What?
manga, cried at that ending. Amazing. I know it's kind of lame because it's about basketball. And I
You don't
know
have to
people
explain
can just,
yourself.
people can just dismiss it,
No,
but it's a
explain it.
real.
What's going on there?
Huh?
No,
Oh, sorry, I didn't know what you said.
No, I said explain it. What's going on there?
No, you don't have to
Well,
explain
it-
yourself.
you
it's,
do.
it's a good team building thing. You got this delinquent who hates basketball.
Yeah.
He just hates it because in middle school, his not girlfriend, his girl he had a crush on was more interested in a basketball player. So he went into high school hating basketball. And that is until he finds a new crush and she's all like, "Hey, you're really tall. Do you like basketball?" And he's like, "Hell yeah, I play basketball." And yeah, the story goes from there. And it's a little wacky, but the competitiveness in there and the tournaments. It's really good. I like it. It turned me into sports. Can you believe it? Number 2.
No.
Number 2, Berserk.
Nice.
Well, we got the same number 2.
Is it your number 2? That's cool.
That's what I said.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah. Then there's no. I don't need to describe anything more.
Yeah,
You know.
you're good.
Delicious in Dungeon. All that
Take out
wholesomeness.
Take out all that wholesomeness.
Take
Take
out
out all
all the
that fun little
wholesomeness,
cooking stuff.
fun little-
Throw in some demons and some
Throw in
gratuitous nudity.
Saran wrap it because kids can't look at anything in there.
Yep. And you got yourself a good book.
And then number 1's One Piece.
Yeah.
Wow, is it really?
Right.
Yeah, dude, I've been reading One Piece for a long time. I'm like, my life force is connected to One Piece.
Fucking nerd.
And
Yeah.
your favorite comic book is Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So you guys really
My
did
favorite- my
recommend
favorite-
your favorites to each other
My
right off
favorite
rip.
Marvel character is Moon Knight.
But not your favorite comic book series?
My favorite comic series would probably be the Jeff Lemire Moon Knight run.
Man, you really
Oh,
made
so
Eric.
Moon Knight is your top.
Yeah, if you read Jeff Lemire's Moon Knight, that's my favorite one. So the when you were like the smaller one of the 2 that I gave you that you were gonna read, the bigger one is the one that is actually my
All right,
favorite
fine.
comic.
Though I don't know, because there's still like
you want.
I'm sorry, because there's still another omnibus left that's supposed to go off right.
Do whatever you want.
No, this is you.
You're gonna take
me.
2. Read the Jeff Lemire Moon Knight comic.
There you go. Then I'll read the Jeff Lemire Moon Knight comic.
There you go. Jeff Lemire, Greg Smallwood, Powerhouse.
I love manga.
Yeah, okay.
I thank you guys for your answers. I think that was very enlightening. I have another question. My next question, it's kind of like you got to really think outside the box for it.
Huh.
And you guys have both read a lot of One Piece at this point.
I've read 36 volumes.
You both read quite a bit of One
35.
Piece.
I've read too much One Piece.
Okay, his pupils are weirdly extra dilated right now.
My question, you guys,
When you brought up One Piece.
Yeah.
my question for you two is, who is the best member of the Straw Hat Pirates to be stranded on a desert island with?
Oh, easy.
Is it?
Yeah, I know this answer. It's Chopper.
He's just saying Chopper because he knows I'm a.
No, he loves Chopper. It's his
No.
favorite character.
Yeah,
he told me
I have a
that.
good reason. You go ahead and you name your pick. I'll tell you why it's dumb and why mine's the right answer.
Here we go.
See, the thing is,
Go ahead.
Christian's right.
Yes, no, he's right. He is correct.
As
Picking
much-
Chopper is like getting 7 different people in one pick. He has 7 transformations,
And he's a doctor.
and he's a doctor.
So
Interesting.
and he's a reindeer. So
Christian hasn't
emergency meat.
gotten this far because it might be light spoiler. It's Brooke.
Dude, I'm gonna plug my ears and start going blah 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 blah.
You know who Brooke is in the Straw Hat Crew? I won't go into detail. Don't worry, I won't spoil anything.
My
I'm gonna
ears
let
are
the
plugged.
viewers-
They're
I'm gonna let the
plugged.
listeners
It's
at
too late.
home-
They're plugged.
I'm going to let the listeners at home
See,
know.
So
I'm
Christian,
gonna have to listen
Christian,
to this later, and I
check.
will hear what he's saying. but-
Christian, check. Can you hear me right now? Can you check?
Yeah, I'm back.
Can you hear me? No,
Yeah.
I'm just checking. I was just checking, making sure your ears were plugged.
Back to
All right,
okay.
now you can't hear me now.
I mean vaguely.
You can't hear me now.
Not like if you
Okay,
talk.
so he can't hear me now. So Brooke is a talking skeleton with an afro that plays guitar. There we go. That was it.
I'm going to finish my sentence. I'm going to let the listeners at home know that I have not read
hold on.
any One Piece. I'm
Oh,
not familiar with any One Piece characters. When I crafted this question, I was like, you know what? This is going to be a toughie. And then you came and you're like, no. It's like the reindeer doctor. No, for sure.
Wait, did you pick
For sure,
Brooke?
it's the reindeer doctor.
He's,
I picked Brooke.
he's literally.
A skeleton.
Is it because of his resurrection powers?
See, I can't go into that because I don't want to spoil the fun of Brooke. So I'm gonna let you experience Brooke when you get there.
Okay.
So, but
Fair enough.
all I know, all you can say is a lot of fun.
Leave it to Eric to pick a spoiler.
Fine. Okay. Fine. I'll pick a character that is within Christian's
that
you know. Fine. I'm gonna pick Usopp.
That is a good one. That was my second choice. That was my when you were like, who's your favorite? Who would you pick from the Straw Hat crew? I was like Chopper, and you're like on a stranded island. I was like Usopp. Fuck shit.
Why Usopp?
Because he's a genius.
He's an idiot, but a genius.
He's a genius.
Is this the long nose guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because also he'll probably have a lot of stories to talk to keep me entertained. Like just even if they're all bullshit.
Usopp recently broke my heart because I read volume 35.
Oh no!
Yeah.
You saw what happened? Usopp, what's going on?
He got to keep the merry-go.
He got the merry-go though.
Hey, you got the car though. It's like this. It's like that one scene in Ant-Man when he gets picked up by Luis, and he's like, "How's it going, Luis? How's your girl? Oh, she left me, and my mom got deported, and my dad died, but I got the van."
No.
It's like Usopp.
Yeah, that's Usopp.
My crew gave up on the ship, and my captain abandoned me, and I got my ass kicked.
But I got the ship though.
But I got the merry-go.
Very sad.
Is that all your questions?
That was an incredible. No, I have one more question. I have one last question for you guys. It's not a softball. Were any of them softballs?
Most of them.
Were they all softballs?
None of them were hard hitters.
No.
Give me a hard hitter.
Okay.
I mean, you got to think of it for your manga though, right?
On this podcast right now,
that one was a hard hitter.
episode 6, maybe 7. Nobody truly knows
It's
which
6.
episode this is.
I looked it up.
know.
Not even the creature or the meature.
I looked it up. It's 6.
Watch you guys be wrong.
Okay.
Will you guys on this episode right here, spoil what are you guys reading after one night after One Piece and Moon Knight? Like, what is your next big thing that you have to chug through?
We talk about it all the time.
So I suggested after Fourth World that maybe because we're both Tom King fans, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. I brought that up.
Those are smaller projects. I think what Clay's getting at is once I'm through One Piece, and once you've read all the Moon Knight that I've read, and we can literally have conversations about Moon Knight that I've always wanted to have because I'm the only other person. It was the chair. I was the only other person who's ever read what I've read, other than Moon Knight. Other Moon Knight fans who can be hit or miss. What project are we moving on after that? Like what kind of
I'm going to suggest you?
Yeah. Like after I'm done with One Piece, where am I going?
I know Hunter x Hunter because you don't want to read it.
No, stop! I don't want to read it.
No, probably not.
That was one of the ones I was like, that's the only one I'm not gonna. I don't.
Christian,
I showed
Christian. Do you remember when you made Eric read early Moon Knight?
Yeah, remember when you made me read?
I do.
Look at him. He's tired. He's tired of it.
I do. But hear me out.
No, see,
why would we read Hunter x Hunter when I could read Vagabond?
Actually, never mind. You can read Vagabond.
And Eric could read, and I want to recommend a manga to Eric. I want him to read Mobile Suit Gundam Origin, which is only 12 volumes, just like Vagabond, which means that we should finish it up around the same time.
13 volumes right now.
Sorry, that was mean.
No, I said it just like me.
That's what you sound like to me in my head.
Is that all your questions, man?
Okay, so just for the record,
we don't
because you mentioned a bunch of stuff. You said Vagabond. You said
Vagabond.
Vagabond, yeah.
It's Vagabond.
It's Vagabond.
Is it Vagabond?
Yeah,
It's Vagabond.
It's about a samurai
Who wanders like a vagabond.
Yeah. You never heard of what's his name? Musashi.
Miyamoto Musashi.
Okay,
Yeah.
no, but what is the comic, not the manga?
Oh no! See, that's the thing.
Was it
is on
Supergirl?
book-
You said
on-
Supergirl.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, so we also Fourth World is something we picked up on the side of Moon Knight
So we read
and
together.
One Piece, so that we have something that we're both we can have a cohesive conversation about because we both read it. Whereas Moon Knight and One Piece is I remember that happening. So I think for comics going forward, I think we're just gonna read smaller projects where we're not reading entire characters, or I'll be like.
Yeah.
Or I'll be like, Eric, it's time for you to read Brian Michael Bendis' events. Brian Michael Bendis events.
That sounds scary.
2004 to
intimidating.
2015, 16. Comic events. Starting with Avengers Disassembled. I think that'd be fun for you to read. I think you'd enjoy reading Avengers Disassembled and all the events after.
Who's in that? Name the lineup of the Avengers.
Captain America,
Okay, that's good.
Iron Man, Thor. No, is Thor there?
As long as Captain America's there.
Thor's not there. Thor's dying.
Good. Sad.
Good. She-Hulk, Ant-Man,
Which one?
Scott Lang,
The good one, yeah.
the cool one, yeah. Hawkeye,
Okay.
Vision.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just like the movies.
Just like in the movie.
I know those characters. I watch the movies.
Okay. My worst
Can I?
nightmare.
All right.
Now, it's interesting that you said that you weren't really a Marvel and DC guy, and then you started talking about manga, because I know you're a big Image Comics guy.
Yeah, I was about to say we're just gonna take a beat and just throw all this manga and DC and Marvel nonsense out the window.
Get this
I
shit
think
out
I
of
gave
here.
us no segue.
Yeah, I think this is a great segue.
Toss that shit out of here.
Get it the fuck out of
I
here.
want to make a recommendation.
Yeah.
There's one Image comic series that I'm a huge fan of that I want to recommend to you guys to read, and then maybe if
we do read it.
I'm shooting my shot right
He's-
now.
Clay,
If you guys like live on the air, these are pre-taped. I'm shooting my shot and saying, hey, I can come back and we can talk about this if y'all want to read Saga,
I do want to read Saga.
this space opera epic adventure.
This is the part where Eric says he's already read Saga. and
Brian
he
K.
hates it.
Vaughan, Fiona Staples.
The only thing I know about Saga is that the cover has breastfeeding on it.
Yeah.
Wow,
But you know what, Clay? Since you talk a big game about it, I want to check it out.
it's really good. I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but it is super real. I think the characters, they're very real, and I think that it really I'm using the word real a lot. I guess I don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but it is
Can you give us like the basic plot? Like,
You want me to give you
or is that too
I'll give you the
spoily?
basic plot.
Yeah, give us a
Essentially,
synopsis.
the synopsis. And for you guys at home, so you guys, if you want to read this saga, it is essentially a sci-fi fantasy, I would call it, space adventure in a time of war between these two. Well, it's a planet and a moon, landfall and Wreath, and they're at war. And essentially, these two star-crossed lovers. They are from two opposing sides of the war. They're two different species. One of them is Landfallian, and one of them's from Wreath. The horns and the wings is what they refer to themselves as. One race has horns, one race has wings, and they, find love, and
And that's where the breastfeeding comes in, right?
yeah, they have
They
a
have
baby.
a baby in the very beginning. I've
They
read
have
the
a
first
baby.
couple pages. They
And-
immediately have a baby.
It's it is an spoiler alert. In the first few pages of the book, they have a baby, and
Well, Babu.
little Babu, and it is a baby of both races, which is a thing. It's like a not a good thing. So
Is
it's
this
Like
never
in
before?
like in Underworld, the third one.
yep,
So this never happened before?
werewolf vampire.
Yep.
It's never happened before, and it's something that both of those worlds don't like necessarily. So it sets in motion a chain of events that it's cool. I recommend it. So I say I wanted to come back on after you guys have read it and talk to you guys about it. Really pick your brains about it. I have read pretty much
The entire
most
first
of it.
compendium.
The first compendium, which is
Issues 1 through 54.
issues 1 through 54, volumes 1 through 9.
Yep.
And I just finished volume 10. And because I read the compendium, but I reread it because I knew I was coming on the podcast, and it's so good.
Yeah.
And
So it still holds up by volume 10?
it still holds up. There are a couple times where it's like it's one of those things where you read the comic again, and it's like, oh wow, they're using some of those words that were not kosher back in like 2010. You know what I mean? 2012.
Yeah.
But then they when you read the like later issues and they kind of like course correct. They're like, yeah, that word's not good, Sonny Jim, and like. Anyways, that is neither here nor there. The point of it is,
It's a good sci-fi romp.
and I guess since the spirit of the show is that you guys recommend stuff to each other, that I asked you guys your top 5 favorite manga series, and that maybe we could, if there's a manga that both of you guys have read, that I could read it too, and then I could give you my 2 cents on that one. And I was thinking Berserk.
Oh, Clay. But you don't want to read Berserk.
Clay, I don't want to ruin your
It's
innocence.
number 2 on both y'all's lists. Nothing else matched up,
Clay,
I don't think.
Clay, the light in your eyes would go out forever.
I changed my mind. Let him read it. I honestly recommend Delicious
dude.
in Dungeon.
Yeah, that's good.
Christian, have you read that?
Never read that.
No, I've never read it.
But I always talk
I'm
big about it to
interested in
him.
it.
He's
See?
always like, yeah.
How many volumes
Okay.
is it?
It's 12.
There's another. Hold on.
See, we should do that one because Berserk is 42 volumes.
There's another manga
Mhm.
that I want to, because I think both of you guys have read it.
Okay.
And I think, correct me on the name, but you recommended it to me. Essentially, right after I had my son, you were like, you should read the one about the yakuza who becomes like a stay-at-home like house husband.
No, The Way of the House Husband.
The Way
There
of the
it is.
House Husband.
I showed you that one. Yeah.
That
I
one's
don't know.
Okay.
I didn't.
Is it not that good?
Well, it's not that it's not good. It's just that
Eric came in hot with that recommendation.
No, it's a good read. It's just I got into other stuff.
It is a manga, the same way that Dilbert is a comic book.
Don't compare.
Do you know what I mean?
I wouldn't
Okay.
compare
You see what I'm
House
saying?
Husband to
Like
Dilbert.
House Husband, each chapter is more of like a single strip joke, like gag comic that you would get in like a Sunday Funny, rather than like a cohesive story building experience.
Though to be fair, we did kind of quit early on, so we don't know if there is a big story going in. But from what I've seen so
You've
far,
gotten to volume 7.
I mean, I have volume 7. I didn't read up to 7.
What did you read up to?
3 or 4.
Wow.
I just don't feel like they're not introduced. Like I don't know.
It's
We
not. It's a good.
We don't
it's
have
not
to do
bad.
that one.
It's not bad. It's just
We
I got other
do
things
not have to
read.
do that one. I mean, if I know Christian hasn't read it, but if okay, I'm landing back on Berserk. You guys don't want me to read it, and that
No,
makes
I-
me want to read it.
No,
Dude, if Clay reads Berserk, no, Clay should read Berserk.
First of
Yeah,
all,
your D&D games are going to be amazing.
That's what I was thinking. I didn't want to say it, but heck yeah, if Clay reads Berserk, the shit that he's gonna think up of as a DM, peek behind the screen. Clay's our Dungeons and Dragons DM that we play with every once in a while. You should read Berserk. Yeah,
and he always have some good fun times. But now
he's gonna let us do stuff like have like the guts armor and the guts sword. if
we're
he
going to
reads
fight
Berserk.
a cave of trolls.
Ah,
Okay, yes, read it.
yeah.
and I know that, as you guys know, I am acquaintance
Mhm.
of the creature.
Yeah.
I know that he has all the Berserk books.
He's missing volume 6, I think.
Oof.
I
Well, I'm
have
probably.
all
I don't
the
have all
Berserk
the time in
books.
the world.
Yeah.
Okay, but so I'll probably read like maybe like the first one, like one or two, and then just get a really good feel for it.
Oh.
Because you guys are there's only like 50. You guys, I'm only saying maybe read the first 54 issues of Saga.
That's all of them.
54?
No, there's like 63 issues now.
How many volumes is that?
I'm gonna read those last 9. If I read 54 issues of something and I
Yeah.
have 9 left, I'm gonna read
No,
the last 9.
I'm going to tell you
catch
right
up.
now.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you right now.
Why not?
You're going to get to the 54th issue, the very end. You're gonna be like, I need to know what happens next. So I don't blame you.
That's what happened with me.
And listeners, if you have read Saga and the 54th issue, the end of Compendium 1, the end of Volume 9, then you know it's like, yeah, you got to read what happens next. So, yeah, that's my pitch.
I'm in.
If you
I'm
guys are
down for it.
cool,
I'll
Well-
I'll read it because you love it.
no, really,
Sick.
I think it's gonna be dependent on what the Denizens think of you if they want you to come back. But
No, we have to get him back because we already said we're going to read it.
that is true. Never mind. Fuck y'all.
am
If
I,
Clay's
hold
coming
on,
back-
I have a quick question. Am
Oh.
I 50%? Like, how many denizens do you have?
I don't know.
We're still
That's why I said you are the.
we're still
community.
discovering more denizens each day.
Every day. We're
Very good.
discovering new denizens. I had a comedian friend of mine who I was talking to him about the podcast, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll be on it, man." And I was like, "Do you read comics?" And he was like, "Nah, what's it about?" And I was like, "Comic books." And he was like, "Oh, I like you want to talk about like Tintin because
That is
he's
hilarious.
from the Netherlands, so he's like, I know about Tintin, and I was like, I took French in high school, I know about Tintin.
So you know what that means, right, Christian?
We're gonna we gotta read all of Tintin,
every
baby.
single
Hell
movie.
yeah! And watch all
Hey,
the
I'd like to come on
movies.
the podcast. I make a recommendation. Tintin.
Tintin.
What's your top 5 favorite Swedish comic
Can you imagine
books?
having him on and just us gushing about comics and he's
He just starts talking about Tintin.
just the only thing he can talk about is Tintin.
Oh my god! No, but it's cool because you were talking about how like you're only really into Image comics, and
I've
I
read
got,
quite a few, yeah.
I got like Eric got me into manga, but I also I like made the decision to take the leap like deep into manga and like go into the manga section and start looking for stuff that like I find interesting on my own rather than just taking recommendations from people. Because I was reading Image comics and I was just going into comic stores and finding comic books that I found interesting, and I read enough Image comics to where I was like, oh, Image comics are cool because they're like these self-contained stories that you don't have to have 40 plus years of background
Yeah.
information to be able to enjoy fully.
You don't have to read this no offense. No offense,
no,
Christians.
no,
No offense to
no,
Christians
no,
specifically.
no.
You don't have to read this terrible comic book from like 1976 that is 72 that is just aged terribly. The art is just not interesting. The writing is not interesting. I'm sorry, Eric. I know you agree with me on this.
I never said the art was bad.
No, not the art. I'm talking about the writing.
Oh yeah, dude, the writing, dude, sucks ass.
I know that like some of the newer Marvel and DC stuff, some of the more modern stuff is just like whoa, like transcendent. But like some of the older stuff, man.
That's not even.
I'm sorry, comic book store Brian, if you're listening.
No, I don't think Jack Kirby's Mr. Miracle is also in the 80s, and it's like way.
It's
better
actually
written.
70s.
It's way better written. Is this the 70s?
Yes, it's the 70s. Because it was 73, and then the Hunger Dogs that the thing came out at 80s.
I'll take your word for it.
You read Image Comics. You haven't read Walking Dead?
I've read so much Walking Dead,
Dude,
Eric.
Walking Dead is amazing.
That's where honestly, that's where I hopped in like very late in my life to comic books, and it was with Walking Dead because it was like the hype thing of like I don't know what was it like 2008, 2009, something like that.
Around there, show,
And it was before the TV show that I was reading the comics, and
Oh.
I read those and I was like, whoa, like they will just. First of all, emotional joyride, and also like they'll just kill off anybody.
It's
so unpredictable and like heart wrenching and perfect.
Nobody's
and
safe.
that to be fair, that comic has like it has its ups and downs, but yeah, that's really where I got my start. With but I stopped reading The Walking Dead.
Oh, you never finished it?
No,
That's fair.
I stopped like right after. This is pretty early on, honestly, because they've really gone so far and it's been so long. I stopped right after the arc with the governor.
Really? Oh,
I know that's kind of super early
That's when
on.
I stopped. Like when they.
He was
that's
a great villain.
Was it when they were like fleeing the prison?
That's right after the governor arc. He's like the very
so.
the very last panel.
yeah.
The very last panel of the.
They were
governor
going
arc
towards that like sanctuary. I think it was.
I
Where
just
it
yeah,
was-
remember.
Alexandria. So you're
Yeah.
probably like a little bit after. So.
Like it was like written on like a subway tunnel or something
I
like
read-
that, or like an overpass. There was like a writing on the overpass. I
read
remember
up
this
to-
distinctly.
I think I read up to where you read
Yeah,
because I remember I read the first compendium.
I was like,
of
it's never
The
going to get
Walking
better
Dead.
than the governor. And then
Hey, can I tell you something?
Yeah.
It gets better than the
Yeah,
governor.
I've seen
because
it,
as
yeah.
much as I love the governor, actually, I do like the governor
Yeah,
slightly
the governor
more.
is really good villain.
You get some other good villains too.
The governor
especially Negan. I think you'd be a big Negan fan.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people
First off,
hype him up.
big Jeffrey Dean Morgan fan. Okay,
Oh,
so
that's a good actor. That was a good choice.
for sure.
If there's one thing I got to say about the show, even though it's mostly shitty, they do pick actors for the characters really well.
Are we going off rails here a little bit on your podcast?
No, not
I don't
at
want
all.
to take you off rails here. I know we're kind of going on a tangent, but
We're talking about comic books, man.
that's fair.
Anything related, you know.
But no,
Anything
Image
related.
Comics wise, I don't even know. This might not even be Image Comics. It's just a comic that I really like. I started, we play Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I was like, what is like Rat Queens? I started reading Rat Queens, and there's not a lot of that. I think there's maybe
2 volumes or something.
no, there's like maybe. See, my thing is like there seems to be, and I'm not. Maybe there isn't, but I feel like there's a loose definition of what a volume and an issue is.
So an issue is usually about like 20 to 30 pages. It's what you would go and buy for like $4 or $5 at your comic book store.
I'm talking. This is probably like $13. Like, what would that
That'd
be?
be a volume.
That's a volume.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's
$10,
probably
$20, that's a volume.
there's probably like 8 or
that
9,
would-
maybe 9 volumes now.
that would be your trade paperback.
Okay,
Because a volume is just like how many books of
Mhm.
the set of books is there, but like Moon Knight, like Eric read volume 1 of the Moon Knight omnibuses, and there's a volume 2 of the Moon Knight omnibus. But there's also like 10 trade paperback volumes of Rat Queens,
Yeah.
maybe. But if they did compendiums for Rat Queens,
I don't
maybe
think
they would
they have.
only do 3 because they would collect instead of collecting 5 issues in each volume, they would collect 15 or 20 or 10. So
And I mean,
those are the kind of
correct me in the
differences.
comments, listeners, if you
Be mean to him.
Don't
correct
be
me in the
mean.
comments,
You're
listeners, if
mean
I'm
to
wrong
Clay,
on
I'll
that.
find you.
But I like Rat. I really like Rat Queens. I think that's another one that's like It's an adult comic. Don't read it around your kids or at work where people can see your screen.
That's why I'm concerned with
But-
you about Berserk, because
When you're hanging out with
No,
your
I'll be sitting at work reading like Saga. This is a crazy thing. I work. I'm not gonna say where I work, but I work essentially like. There's a chance that people will walk behind me, and there was one point like somebody like walked behind me while I was reading Saga, and they're like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, and I looked at my screen, and I was like, "Oh crap, I'm reading Saga. I'm rereading it." And I looked at the screen, and luckily it wasn't anything like gratuitous or like violent, but like that book is full of it. So I was like, "Ooh, I got really lucky right here in a professional setting because this is an NSFW comic right here."
if you're reading Berserk, you're gonna have to be a lot
Well,
more discreet.
no, well, that's why you read Delicious and Dungeon.
Got
in
it.
Safe
Oh.
work areas, like when you're with your family or at work, and then when
When-
you go in a
When
closet,
you go to the
you know,
bathroom, or you,
you step into the bathroom,
or
you
that
know,
alone time in your car before you walk into the
for your-
house.
for your 10-minute break, 30-minute shit break.
Well, that's my pitch, gang.
I'm
I'm
down.
glad that y'all are down.
Oh yeah,
I'm for it.
I'm down. Yes,
So
I need to know where to get this. Can I borrow your copy? I'll just steal one of your guys.
He has.
I have the compendium physically. I have all of it digitally.
Yeah.
So we can figure
give
it
me your
out.
computer. I'll just take
Yeah.
that and read it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll figure it out. But I think that's all from us here today
yes.
on the book club from Planet Zero.
Yes, look, give it up for our
Our
man,
first
Clay.
guest number one.
Clay.
Thank you, guys.
We might add some applause here to say it. Yeah.
I was gonna clap, but then I realized
No,
that probably
don't.
sound terrible on
Well,
audio.
that's why we have the imaginary hands clapping. Hopefully, maybe I don't know.
The denizens. You guys, everyone, clap at home right now. We'll
Yeah,
hear
clap
you.
at home right
feel
now. We'll
your
hear
energy.
it. Oh, you hear that?
Oh, I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I'm feeling it right now.
Feeling that energy.
I don't
That's
feel
Still
that's
not,
for you,
baby.
Clay.
Oh.
Don't ruin
Yeah,
this
that's
for me.
clapping this for you.
Well,
Thank you for being on our podcast, by the way.
Thank you for showing up.
I want to thank y'all for having me. This is like a dream come true. Like I said, number one fan, possibly only fan. Nobody knows.
all right. Well, all right.
but-
Anyway, so go ahead and leave a rating. Go ahead and comment. Share it with your friends, your family.
Put down your favorite Clay quote in the comments.
List your-
mic off.
list your top 5 manga and send it to Clay. His address is no. But thank you so much, everyone. We will see you next time here on the book club from Planet Zero. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.